Morning people, please join me in welcoming to the Creative Mornings stage, Dr. Nancy Pearson.
Well, that was an amazing beginning to this morning, and I hope that I can deliver. I have two goals. One is to stick to my script, though I do have some notes, and the other is to kind of control my rubber face to not make the photographer's work that much harder. So, when I sat down with Jen to pick my topic for this, there was like 2 or 3 to choose from, and Nomad really resonated with me. So I would like to begin with the definition, one of the definitions that I chose, that I ran with. It's a little bit different than what Jen talked about. Oops. Yes, there's the title. So Dr. Nancy wants to let you know about the Greek etymology of the word nomad, which comes from the word nomos, meaning roaming in search of pasture. And that's important because nomads don't wander aimlessly, they're not lost, they are moving toward actual nourishment, something life-giving, something that feeds them. And that's how I've come to think about my career. So this is a very personal talk. Not as this direct path, but as a series of moves and pivots and sometimes like awkward experiences, each one trying to bring more alignment and meaning. And so for a long time, I thought that made me flaky or unserious as a professional. But now that I sort of am looking at it under this sentiment, I'm thinking that the pasture I was searching for was purpose. Here is a snapshot of the path I've taken, and it starts in college. You have to understand, I was a very immature 17-year-old college freshman. I didn't know much about what careers or industries were available to me. And so I chose what I knew. I was an English major, and I minored in theater. I felt very comfortable there, but I have to say I lived in the theater. It consumed my academic, my social, and my spiritual life. And I thought I chose theater because I loved it, and it was like one of the few things I was pretty good at. But in hindsight, I think what drew me to the theater was the community collaboration of it all, because I was just this tiny piece of a much bigger machine that was interconnected and interdependent and diverse. And the one thing theater people all have in common is this shared goal of excellence and passion for the thing at hand, right? Interpreting a written work of the human experience, but for an audience, night after night after night. Now, some of the skills you need to have to be successful in the theater, well, I did not have them in my early 20s. I was not assertive. I didn't have thick skin. I wasn't competitive. And realistically, this was just not going to be the thing that worked out for me. So I kind of fell back on my experiences doing children's theater and explored teaching. So my career began not on stage, but in the classroom, teaching 1st through 3rd grade in Montessori schools. And then, after about 7 or 8 years, I began a decades-long indirect path of random career moves. I worked at a PBS station teaching literacy through children's television programs. I worked at UNH, but in the theater and dance department. I, for free, got my master's at UNH in public administration because I didn't have what I thought I wanted, which was communications. I ran a nonprofits arts commission. I was the COO at a modern art museum. I got really involved in my community and local government, eventually running for city council and winning a couple of terms. And that's where I learned about community development and economic development. Then I ran a women's business center, helping women start and grow their business. I sat on and still sit on a bunch of nonprofit organizations. Hello, PMAC in the house. And I got my PhD in transformative social change. So I could understand, how do you get into a system and bring change from within? And sometimes I do several of these things all at the same time. And I'd go to an event, you know those events, and somebody would ask you, well, what do you do? Lord mercy, I hate that question so hard because I never know how to answer it, because I'm not just an educator, I'm not just a nonprofit person, I'm not just a civic leader, I'm many things. And I felt ashamed because I didn't pick that one thing. I didn't build my career. I wasn't on that trajectory for the big job and the big salary. I just didn't do that. I wandered. I kept seeking. What I didn't know or realize in the moment was that all of those experiences, each one of them was teaching me something. Theater taught me how to collaborate with humility. Teaching taught me how to hold a room. Running nonprofits taught me about how to build systems and manage people and projects. My MPA taught me how local government is really about caring for people and community. City Council taught me how messy democracy really is. And P.S., and by the way, sometimes decisions are predetermined and made behind closed doors. Not super comfortable, but that's the truth. Volunteering for nonprofits taught me the importance of giving back. My PhD taught me how change really happens at the systems level, but also in the soul. None of these lessons were clear at the time because I thought I was just disorganized, but taking it all in and looking back like I had to do to prepare for this talk kind of helped me connect some dots. I wasn't following a master plan. I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't have that career path, but I had this inner compass, and it was pointing me toward three things: community, change, and agency. And those are the values that I think led me to what I'm doing right now, which is I write children's books on civics. I teach adults how local government works. I create civics pop-up experience in unexpected places. And I teach people, especially young people, well, people of all ages, how to have civic power. I teach people that you have a voice, you have agency. Yeah, girl. You can make an impact right now, not someday, not when you're older, not when you're qualified, but today. And I think that that might be the pasture I was roaming toward all those years. So I've been on this journey for 3.5 decades. I'm an old. And with the benefit of some hindsight and road-weary wisdom, I know things now that I didn't know when I was bouncing from one thing to the next. So, number one, there is no such thing as a wasted experience. Every role I took, no matter how small, if it was part-time, even if it was ultimately the wrong thing, and we all know where learning happens, right, in the mistakes, every role that I took taught me something. It taught me about people. It taught me about struggle. It taught me about situations. It taught me about myself. And that diversity of experience, you can use that as a superpower. So that's number one. Number two, I thought I was supposed to be on that path. I thought I should have picked a lane and built my career and specialize in something. But where I landed, fostering everyday local democracy, that doesn't need specialists. It needs connectors. People who can understand how public policy and everyday life intersect. People with experience who've been in the boardroom, in the classroom, at the rally. People who are willing to ask, what if we did things differently? And can we have something more nourishing? And, whoops, let me get to my notes here. I think I was finally able to accept, and that's a big word because, as I said, I felt bad about myself, about my career, but I think I was finally able to accept the path I chose when I stopped asking, what does success look like? Oh, I forgot number 3, sorry. The third thing I learned was that success doesn't come from titles, it comes from impact. So you're not successful because your LinkedIn profile looks amazing. You're successful when your community, whatever that community means to you, feels seen. Okay, so I had to get out the third one. So I finally accepted my path and gave myself some grace when I stopped asking, what does success look like? How do I show my success? And I started wondering, how do I take my skills and all that experience and create the world I want to see? So that's the path I've chosen. And now I want to do something that I hope you'll find really meaningful. Instead of the traditional Q&A, where the audience asks the speaker questions, I guarantee you I am not the most interesting or accomplished person in this room. I have created some questions that I want you to answer. But don't worry, introverts, it's not going to be an out loud thing that you have to share. And in fact, if you want to just think about these questions on your own, go ahead. But for others, I encourage you to get into couples or thruples or whatever floats your boat. And I've prepared a few questions. And how much time do we have? I'm going to give you like 2 minutes per question. So, like rapid fire. What's the first thing that comes into your head? And try to get everybody in your group to answer these questions together. All right, everybody understand the assignment? Yes. Question number 1. What's the most random job you've ever had, and what did it teach you that you still carry? Go. Okay. All right. We're gonna stop there. We're gonna move on to the next question, friends. I know. I'm so glad you're psyched for this. We're gonna move on to the next question. If you didn't get to answer the first question, you're gonna be the first one in your group, or to think, if you're alone, to answer this question. Have you ever left something behind that looked good on paper, but no longer felt right or served you? Go. Okay. This is so amazing. We're going to move on. Raise your hand if you've not had a chance to speak in your group yet. Oh, I love this. Okay, we're moving on to the next question. If you had to name your inner compass, the values that guide you, what would they be? Couple more. We're going to just move on to the next one, friends. I know. You're all amazing and have great stories. Get yourself up here for future talks. Next question. What's something you've always done, even when it wasn't part of your job title? Okay, last one. We're going to move on. This is going to be the last question, so make it count. I'll give you an extra 10 seconds. What would change if you trusted that your path, even with all its twists, is not random, but a map?
That's a good one, Dr. Nancy.
Show of hands. Did anybody learn anything about yourself in the last 7 minutes? Oh, yes. I love that so much. So I want to wrap up by saying that I used to think that wandering meant that I was unserious and undecisive, and it made me feel bad about myself for my entire career. But now I understand that for all those years, I was just seeking my values: community, change, and agency. Do we have anybody in the room that also feels like a wanderer? Hells yeah. All right. Well, I hope my journey can help you reframe your indirect path and look at it as opportunities to gather wisdom. You're just moving toward the pasture that will nourish you. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Check 1, 2. Keep it going for Nancy Pearson, everybody.